There will be no more firing. Incidents like firing from the Kangpokpi Hills towards those people who are doing the religious rites, those kind of things, all the more it affects this process. So the authorities have to ensure that there's no more firing, that action is taken from, for both sides. Taking away arms and, the bunkers were destroyed, all this kind of thing. It should be shown that to both communities that we are, coming in strongly. We are serious about this. We are walking the talk. So after this process starts, the people start, feeling secure, feeling confidence in this authority that, okay, this time it is serious. Both sides action is taken equally. Then only the arms will come back.
Geeta, this is how you say it in Hindi. सरकार भी होनी चाहिए और सरकार का रसूख भी होना चाहिए. I know what you are saying. Rasukh bhi hona chahiye. So I think that Rasukh has to be visible. Thank you so much, Mr. Mishra, for joining me. Do you think the time for really coordinated search operation has come in Manipur to get back these weapons full and final?
Yes, Karthika. This is $100 question you have asked. The problem is, I'll tell you, tomorrow is the last date which Mr. Ajay Bhalla, Honorable Governor, has given. Extended. I am very sure these weapons which are there with the militants and looted from the armory will not be surrendered at all. The operation has to be continued. Honorable Governor had a security meeting with all the security heads, and it transpired that they have to go for operations, because even though this Third Community International, they have come up very nicely with the action taken by Honorable Governor. But the problem is the hardliner of Kotu and Kokomi, they are giving their statements against each other very vehemently. And Kotu has clearly stated they want separate administration and separate duty, and they will not allow Maitis to move freely in that area. But I can well tell you that the weapons have to be recovered, and I will tell you, Karthikeyan, one more angle, we never think of that. I will tell you, it is all Chinese angle. The China is there, they are there, absolutely watching what is all happening in northeastern Manipur, and they have the radar stations opposite to Manipur, and more or less what all are happening, the way weapons are coming and drugs are coming, it is all because of China, and we have to be very careful. And three things to be done immediately. First of all, operations have to be conducted from 7th morning to bring back the looted arms and the militants, whatever they have from Myanmar, they are holding it. Number two, the border fencing has to be totally, not the way it was told that only where the gates are there, openings are there, both the sides 2 kilometers and 2.5 kilometers to be done.
Okay.
Certainly not.
Okay.
And a border guarding force has to be deployed in BOP concept.
Okay.
Until and unless nothing can be done in that state.
Okay.
Can be done.
Okay. Dr. Thongolal Haukip also joins me, Assistant Professor, Center for the Study of Law and Governance. Thank you so much, Dr. Haukip, for joining me. How do you see the initiatives taken by the Home Ministry and the Governor to restore normalcy in Manipur, sir?
I think military approach is not a solution to bring peace in Manipur. If you look into the scale and the duration of the conflict for the last 22 months, there is a need for the central government to have patience. You have to deal carefully. You have to look into the needs and aspirations of the communities. Unless you look and consider all these, demands, I think we are not heading to another form of, reconciliation. Otherwise, we are going back to the same Biren Singh's regime in Manipur. So the center has to look deeply into the prevailing situations, and it needs to handle the situation very carefully, very tactfully. Otherwise, the kind of solutions that Mishraji has suggested I think we are not heading anywhere. It's time to heal. It's time to look into the aspirations and demands of the people, and this needs a lot of patience. So I would request those who ever handle the situation to take the stock of the situation carefully and adopt a kind of a proactive approach during this time.
Aditya, very quickly, do you think that the guns are impacting the behavior of the normal politician? And then I'll go to General Chauhan, because I really need to ask him a very specific question. Do you think that guns have impacting the behavior of people? They feel insecure. They feel that they can be attacked.
You know, one thing that one needs to understand, Kartikeya, that over the last 2 years, there has been a fear psychosis. There has been a lack of trust. There is a trust deficit. And when government is working to restore that, then there are several steps that need to be taken. But the first and foremost for any kind of a peace dialogue, for any kind of a negotiation, or for any kind of a step, a policy change to be taken, is that the arms need to be surrendered. That's the basic that needs to happen. As someone who comes from a community who suffered ethnic cleansing in Kashmir, I can tell you that confidence building measures from government are paramount.
Absolutely.
Trust deficit needs to end only through confidence building measures, or as my previous panelist said, aspirations of the people, demands of the people, that the government can be trusted. And some steps have been taken. As I said, the Chief Minister has resigned, even though he has resigned late. The Governor, Ajay Kumar Balla, who understands Manipur, who has taken at the MHA level meetings on Manipur, is somebody who is on ground then. He is willing to speak to each and every group possible. But that can only happen when these weapons are completely surrendered. Otherwise, there will be action as per the law of the land that will follow. Secondly, as someone, I think Major Amit mentioned, that justice is key. Of course,
Absolutely.
Healing touch will only happen when there is justice. Trust deficit will only end when there is justice. Only an action by the government, by the police, by the machinery and the administration on ground will lead to results. And it is time consuming. Nothing will happen overnight. But steps are being taken, and the community leaders, not just neutral bystanders, community leaders from Kuki community, from the Maiti community, have to come forward and say that let's give peace a chance. Enough of bloodshed. Yes, we want an administration council. We want a hill development council. We want some steps to be taken, assurances to be guaranteed by the government of India. But that will only happen when all the parties come forward for talks.
General Chauhan, Manipur is almost like a frozen conflict. You know, when the government says that there has to be a free movement of people, it becomes impossible when communities don't accommodate that concern. You know, 8th of March is also the timeline in which the government is talking about creating free highways. Do you think, sir, it's possible to unclog those highways where invisible line has been drawn and is existing for last 1.5 years?
Karthik, I have no doubt that everything is possible. Okay. The government and Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, have shown clearly the resolve that they are going to take action if this doesn't happen. And the free movement on the highway can take place if the troops escort people crossing. In the initial stages, the troops must escort. We've done it in Kashmir, we've done it in Nagaland, we've done it in Assam, we've done it in Manipur, we've done it everywhere. We've escorted people when free movement couldn't take place. So we'll do it now. It's for the government to show the resolve. I agree with Aditya completely. The government has to show that it is serious, that it will resolve the issue, it will take action against the guilty. And the last issue, though it's easier said than done, is that I have always maintained, and I've always said on your show, that if the apartheid regime, the whites and the blacks in South Africa could get together and live peacefully, why can't the Kukis and the Maitis? They're people from the same state. They don't have a history of conflict with each other. Why can't we do this? But the government has to show that it can be trusted.
That requires a Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Absolutely.
Truth and Reconciliation
It doesn't. Karthik, what it requires is resolve. That the leaders are brought together, put in front of a table, the door is locked and said, come to an agreement.
So
till you come to an
what
agreement. I'm not
what I
going to-
feel, what it requires. I personally feel, Geeta Rani tell me, and then I'll again go to Mr. Thangolal Hawkip. It requires putting an end to the narrative of othering. Tell me if I'm
Absolutely.
wrong. Tell me, Geeta Rani,
Absolutely
if
right.
I'm wrong.
Definitely,
Othering.
Kartik. Actually, peace can return, as I mentioned earlier, by steps. Because 21 months it had lingered on, we cannot expect immediately that the both communities will come in and start talking. So, surrendering of arms and taking those arms by combing operations, and then the Sioux militants should be asked to go inside their camps. These kind of measures will restore, confidence among the people. And CSO leaders from both sides, they are not able to come to the table and talk with each other. Even those, I'm not talking about those hardliners that we cannot talk peace, we will be asking for separate administration or union territory. Those earlier it was a stand that if we'll come to the talking table if the chief minister and Biren Singh resigns. But after he resigned also they have taken up another position that will not be talking other than separate administration. So for those hardliners, I don't see unless the government steps in hard and institute a peace commission, constituting, appointing people, that will not happen from their side. But for those people, CSO leaders who are eager to talk about peace, who are eager to bring peaceful condition in Manipur, if the guns are not present, if the Sioux militants are in the camps, they will feel confident to come out and talk to each other. So this, trust, this situation to be created by the authority when it happened, when there is peace prevailing for a certain amount of time, the confidence will come back to the people, to the leaders. They'll come out and start talking about peace because ultimately, Kartike, we have to live together. It's not possible that one community stays here, another community stays here. They don't go across and live together, because in the state administration, all the communities, they have their job, they have to come to the capital for their work. It's not possible that they stay confined to one place, right? And as regarding national highway, I just want to highlight one thing. There is no total blockade of the national highways. The highways are operational, it's still open. Only thing is there are checkpoints in which they check the people, their IDs, whether they belong to Meiteis or they belong to other communities.
Okay.
So the Pangals, the non Manipuri from outsiders, and then Naga people, they are commuting. I mean, like that, it is free for them. Only thing is these checkpoints who are creating, which are checking this whether a particular person belongs to which community. These checkpoints needs to be removed. And initially, this convoy, these guards, they have to escort the people that so
Okay.
they can protect. That's all that's required.
Okay,
Otherwise,
Doctor?
it's
Dr. Hawkip, how can this othering end?
Kartike, you have let the conflict to linger on for 21 months, and now, the process is going to be uphill task, because we have demanded, including your channel, that impose president's rule, change the chief minister in the first week or even in the first one of the conflict, and that didn't happen. That should have happened, and now whatever we have discussed could not take place, because had it been done in the first month of the conflict, I think by that time people in Imphal, especially the Kukis, were still there, and the conflict could have been controlled, and the law and order situation could have been dealt with a farmhand. But that didn't happen. Now, the kind of the kind of hatred for the other community is so high, and it will take time. And that is why I'm saying that the central government, especially the governor, has to have some kind of patience in dealing with whatever we call it, the radical groups or the CSOs. So there should be, a kind of patience in handling all these situations. It will take time. It will take maybe another year or two to control all these kind of groups. But I will disagree with some of the statements that the highway has been infested with checkpoints and others. Because similarly in Imphal Valley, the Mehra Pibes has been engaged in this checking of not only common people, they were checking even armed forces, the Assam Rifles, the paramilitary forces, and others were checked for their identity. You look into the viral videos. That's the kind of situation we have in Imphal Valley also. Let's not talk only about the hills. These are many of the happenings in the hills are copied by the hill people, for instance. So let's look into the internal dynamics in Imphal also. And if we are talking about the hills also, definitely the some of the looted arms has to come back, because the state has a huge,
Okay.
reports of arms and others. So they have to look into it, and then what exactly it was looted has to
Okay.
be, brought back. Similarly, in Imphal Valley also, the 6,000 or 7,000 of looted arms has to be exactly returned, not the double barrel guns and
Okay.
others that have been seen in the ceremony.
Dr. Hawkip, I have a lot of
Yes,
patience for your argument, but I don't. The time is something which I cannot control, because when I'm bound by time, I need to take a closing statement from Mr. P.K. Mishra. I don't want to get into this de-weaponization issue. Do you think that the larger reason is that the vexed issue is like a long list? You have drugs, illegal immigration, then you have the issue of othering, then you have the issue of, no one talks about internally displaced people, 62,000. No one talks about employment opportunity. No one talks about, the issues which have affected the youth there. No one talks about the fact that Imphal airport cannot be accessed by a lot of people. There are basic issues which people don't talk about, but there are issues on which narratives are built. That is what is being talked about. Problem to yahi hai na?
Yes, Karthikeyan, you are absolutely correct. But see, when 60,000 people were displaced, this is the time, the first and foremost thing government should do to look after the 60,000 people. They must go back and their houses to be rebuilt. That is the one, that will be the trust factor between cookies and mighties. And the best part of it is, even I'll tell you, this Kotu and Kokomi, they are leaders to be definitely. The dialogue should start between both of them. And I was listening to another speaker, definitely on national highways, particularly while going to More, while going to Churachandpur, while going to Dimapur, while going to Jiribam, whether it is Mera Paibis or whether it is Cookies, whoever they are checking all these points to be demolished, and free movement should be there from 8th as government has
I completely agree on that, and I think that's my takeaway. There has to be, Gitarani says that there is a movement but the checking takes place, but I think what is really required is that the community leaders must come together, and there have to be some point of areas, as General Chauhan said, where consensus can be reached. I mean, so why start with hard issues? I mean, so the softer issues can be dealt with first, because if we always start with the hard issues, I think no soft issues will get resolved. And I think the first thing which needs to be done is to allow people to return homes and ensure that they are not harmed there. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Gitarani, for joining me on my show. And as I said 2 years ago, that we are committed to this issue on Manipur, and we will continue to talk about it on national media, not ignore it, not cover it when violence takes place, cover it on days when there is no violence, because it's an issue of national importance. So that's all on Point tonight. Thank you for watching. Do tune in at the same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. Good night.
Hello everyone. We have the biggest announcement of 2025, especially for cricket fans. We're bringing a golden chance to win a free trip to the UK with your favorite legends. Suresh Raina, Shikhar Dhawan, Shahid Afridi, Chris Gale, Brett Lee. These legends won't just meet you, but you'll stay in the same hotel, travel in the same bus, and witness their practice sessions live and be a part of the post-match team celebrations and gala dinner. 12 lucky winners will get the golden chance to travel with their favorite teams and players, with all expenses covered by us. The entry forms will be available starting 15th February. Keep checking updates on our website wclcricket.com and our Instagram. Get ready to turn your dream experience into reality.
It's no more the days where people would have known the names of women cricketers. Now they know the faces of women cricketers.
Young girls are no more ignorant about, okay, the sport is only for boys or only for my brother.
When it comes to women, a very, very focused approach should be there to create an ecosystem for producing champions.
That's where we educate them. That's where the school has to say, when it comes to sport, there is no boys and girls. And that is where we have to set us that sort of environment.
It has to be more inclusive, equality has to be there, and it has to be based on merit.
It will only grow from strength to strength.
I'm an eternal optimist. With Mithalis around us, I'm sure that kind of change in mindset and that kind of encouragement for women to get into sports would definitely be far more prevalent.
We are all dependent on each other.
You can win and you will win.
Watch Do a Lot with Varun Das this Women's Day on the 8th of March, featuring Mithali Raj, only on News9. News9, English news as it should be. Today, India has become the second largest road network in the world. India has left China behind to achieve this feat. The rapidly building highways and expressways are becoming a strong foundation of the Indian economy.